Hi, Grace Kids. We're in the kindergarten classroom. Do you recognize it? Stuff on the wall. I'm not going to show you around. This is where you memorize your verse with Miss Angie or Mrs. Angie or Mrs. Owens and some others. So, number 5, we're going to have an open hand. Okay, this is what Jesus is saying to his disciples and his and those interested in following him on the side of the mountain there. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive mercy. So what's Jesus saying here? He's saying that God forgives those who forgives others. He told a story one time in one of his teaching times. He told a story of a king. He had a lot of money. But he had lent out a lot of money too. And so he's calling in his servants and wanting them to pay back what they owe him. And there's one servant owed the king. I mean, it was a lot of money. Think big. Your biggest ever. He could never, ever pay it back in his lifetime. And the servant says, well, I promise I'll pay you. And the king was going to put him in jail and make him work for the rest of his life. He said, no, have mercy on me. Forgive me. I'll pay it. Just be patient with me. And the king knew that he couldn't pay it back. But the king, what? Gave him mercy. He forgave that man who owed him a lot of money. And then that man who was forgiven by the king goes out and he finds somebody else who owes him some money. Now, he doesn't owe him as much money as he owed the king. In fact, he owes that man not very much at all. That man could pay it back. And so he goes to the man and says, give me my money. And the man says, I can't give it to you right away, but if you're patient with me, I will pay it back. And you know what that man did? He said, no, you're going to go to prison. You're going to work for me. You're going to pay it back to the last penny. Well, some of the friends of the king heard about that. And they went to the king and said, you know that man that you forgave, you extended mercy, and you forgave his debt? He went to another guy who didn't owe him very much money at all, and he put him in prison. He wasn't merciful to that man. And that king got very, very angry, the Bible tells us. And he got that man who owed him all kinds of money and he put him in prison. It says, until you pay back that last penny, you're going to stay in prison. That means he would have been in prison the rest of his life because he couldn't have paid it back. And this is what Jesus says. If you do not forgive your brother from your heart, God won't forgive you. God wants us to forgive others. Whatever sin somebody else has done against you pales in comparison, doesn't even compare to our sin against God. So, blessed are the merciful, for they shall receive merciful. Now, I know you're living with your brothers and your sisters and stuff, and so that's a good attitude to have. That's God's children, are those who offer forgiveness, extend mercy, and when we are humble and do that, God will extend mercy and forgiveness to us. See you next time.